this is the full walkthrough of one of my sewing patterns, the Mariposa shrug with bell sleeves. The link to the pattern is in the description, but I think also without the pattern this video can give lots of valuable information. So enjoy! I'm Marjolein Turin, designer of Somnia Romantica, and with this project, Somnia Sewing Guild, I make patterns and tutorials available for home sewing. I made a separate video with all you need to know about Somnia Romantica, Somnia Sewing Guild, the patterns and how to use them. Tools. Obviously I use thread. I also have a sewing machine and a serger. You can of course also sew by only machine or by hand. Next to this I use the following things: tailor's chalk. This is a refillable tailor's chalk pen, a fine scissor and a fabric scissor, measuring tape. This one has inches on one side and centimeters on the other side. Also both starting at the same place, so it's basically a converter. Pins, weights for keeping the fabrics or patterns in place, a stitch ripper, you will always need this, a very fine needle, and yes, it was not curved when I bought it. And when sewing with the machines I recommend a noise cancelling headphone. It saves your ears, and of course if you listen something, do it on a low volume. Material recommendations. Actually for the bodice and puff sleeves a lot of fabrics go. So I've made them in thin lace, in sturdy jacquard, in everything from really thick to really thin, to really stretchy, to really unstretchy. There's a difference in how it falls. This is also influenced by the use of additional materials, the use of an inner sleeve or not, the pattern and so on. When starting out, maybe something sturdy with a little stretch is a good one to start with. It gives a bit leeway while still keeping shape. The use of an inner sleeve is a choice. If you do it, I recommend a thin fabric like tulle or mesh, because otherwise you get very thick seams. I will do a specific tutorial about choosing materials. I will place a card in this video as soon as it is up. Choosing materials for the biceps. You can of course do the biceps in the same fabric. You can also use lace for that. I like to use some sort of lace or lace trim for it. That often matches the sleeve end, like in this case. And for the sleeve ends, the bell sleeves, you can do literally anything. Thinner fabrics or more supple fabrics will have more movement, while the thicker fabrics will have more volumes. Lace, trim and other decoration. As said, in this case I'm using the broad vintage lingerie lace for the biceps and the sleeve ends. I will pleat it in what I call the standard pleats. That means there's just as much space between the pleats as the pleats itself. So for one sleeve this means I need twice the circumference of the sleeve plus some extra for finishing. And on top of that the length for the biceps and some extra for finishing. And then it all needs to go ×2 for the left sleeve and the right sleeve. Then we have around the neckline this lace, also vintage lace, more sturdy or stiffer lace with a super dense pleats. In that case you need 3 times the amount of seam. So as the bodice all around is 1.5 meter or yard, then you need 4.5 meters or yards and some extra for the finishing. That's the big secret to all of my designs. It's just tons of lace, I'm afraid. To make the second layer of lace I used this same broader lace that I used around the bodice, but I cut it in half over a wavy line in the midst of the lace to create 2 rows of scalloped lace, which also happen to be symmetrical. I made a separate video on how to discover this type of lace and how to cut it. Ta-da! Of course you can also choose many other types of finishing, like just with lace trim, like over here, broader lace with lace trim, with very fine trim, or even just a very clean finishing with this cute and also budget-friendly lace. Oh, just to say, gravity will play a bigger role when you have softer lace. So here you can see how this exact same way of making a collar works with very soft lace or very stiff lace. You place the fabric folded in half on the table, lengthwise. Sometimes the width is better, but in this case lengthwise. And then you place the pattern pieces on it. There are many ways to lay the pattern on the fabric. To avoid a seam at the mid-back, you can place the bodice with the back on the fold. If you have a fabric with a grain line, like a velour, which reflects the light differently when you turn it, or something with a pattern that has a very obvious upside or downside, then it's very important how you place the pattern pieces. Also make sure the stretch goes the right way, in the width and not in the length. When your fabric is very even, you can have a sustainable variation where you just place it in such a way that you have as little waste as possible. Also, you can take in consideration to cut at the same time another pattern or some cute little accessory to use the fabric in the most efficient way. In this case, the rose pattern is so that you can use the fabric both horizontal or vertical. I use tailor's chalk, but there are many other ways to draw a pattern. One of them being using pattern fabric and then pinning it on the fabric. I like this way, that's personal. I cut the seam allowance away because I always just cut around it. And I like to see the exact lines of the bodice, but that's also personal. I just draw around all the pieces, I mark them with some pointers and I mark the mid of the sleeve parts. Then I cut everything out with seam allowance. And I know this is cut in a pretty rough way, it's my way of working, but of course more neat is better. This is the beautiful vintage lace and I'm using it for the biceps and for the sleeve ends. For this I have the biceps part and then I fold the lace with the good sides in. I mark the mid and place the biceps part. You can see that the pattern piece is a bit longer than the lace. Then use the upper part of it because you want the upper part of the biceps to fit. Then in my humble opinion it's cutest to mirror it, so I'm going for it. Cutting it and then also marking the mid at the other side of the pattern. I use this bridal tulle for the sleeves. I like it because then the sleeve is very transparent and then the sleeve end will have very densely pleated lace. It's a very cute way. Sometimes you like to have a sleeve end just wider than the pattern or just smaller. Just draw around it in the right radius. If you do not like to do this freehand or would like it to be very precise, then you can just use a measuring tape or a ruler. For the mid I always fold the fabric a bit and then make the first snip and then I can use that hole and cut around. Then I pick the inner sleeve. I have 6 sizes here, so I pick the size I needed and trace the lines with the chalk. The big advice is actually to place some weight on the pattern so it lays flat. Here I'm using my hand. I use cute old irons for this. Look, the pattern is on the table. That's because the tool has more hole than fabric. Here are all materials together. We're going to the serger. I have a serger. If you don't, you can use your sewing machine. There are fantastic people online who can help you with the conventional way of sewing by hand or by only sewing machine, and I'll link them as soon as I have a nice package of links. I have a nice fine thread now with three threads, pardon my Dutch, and I'm now going to sew the bridal tulle. Laddie, laddie, laddie. Tool does almost not fray, but still I think it's best to give it a stitch. And I'm also giving the stitch to the mid part, which will go around the arm. After this I'm giving the parts of the bodice a seam, giving this to the shoulder parts and the side parts of the bodice. Then I'm sewing the shoulder parts together with a straight stitch, good sides in. And then I go to the inner sleeves. I pin the mid of the inner sleeve, put the pin 2 or 3 times through so it will stay put, otherwise it will just glide out of your tool. You can also use a safety pin. And then I lay it good side up and then on top of it the mid of the puff sleeve also good side up. Actually I would recommend to first sew the side seams and then you give a little stitch from those side seams to about 8 centimeters on both sides, and then you can start pleating from the mid, and the other pleats you can equal between that. For this pattern there's between each pleat a little bit of space before the next pleat starts. For the part that goes around the biceps I like to let the pleats go the other direction. That's just a thing. You can experiment with this, what you like, pleats in, pleats out, whatever is your preference. There's the sleeve. Then I put the biceps part through the serger. This gives a very neat seam. In this case I want to keep the scallops of the lace, so I'll place it over each other. So the puff sleeve with the good side up and over that the scalloped biceps lace with the good side up. Sewing with a loose zigzag over the serger seam and then sewing it again while following the scallops, otherwise they will curl or fold. I'm constantly making sure that the pleats of the puff sleeve stay in place. Apologies for the crappy light, it will be better soon. It was very inconsequent weather, like clouds, rain, sun, rainbow, etc. So Dutch weather basically. And I can't sew without daylight. Okay, here I'm placing the shoulder part of the puff sleeve onto the shoulder part of the bodice. Shoulder seam to shoulder seam with the good sides onto each other. And from there I sew first all the way to the side seam at the front and all the way to the side seam at the back. And here we are sewing the shoulder seam with the serger. After this we can sew the side seams of both the biceps, puff sleeve and part of the bodice. Here I fold it with the good sides onto each other, the front and the back of the right arm and bodice, and later the front and the back of the left arm and bodice. Sew them onto each other with a straight stitch just aside the serger seam. When that's done, I can give a serger seam all around the bodice, ladi-ladi. Then I fold, let's pleat. Here I'm pleating the broad lace onto the tulle sleeve, and actually this was a bit of a slow process because the tulle wants to walk away and the lace too actually. I have most of the lace on my lap, so it goes in a bit of organized way to the machine, and I'm constantly making sure that the lace gets sewn on the serger seam. I'm pleating one sleeve one way, one sleeve the other way, because then in the end you have sleeves that fold the same way. When you stand, they both pleat forward or backward. Here you are at the end, and you make sure that you have well enough for this gap. That means at least twice the length of this gap and then some extra. Then you place the good sides of the lace on top of each other. Make sure you do not have it twisted, by the way. That's also annoying. And I use a very dense stitch, like with a minimal length, a zigzag with a minimal length and a bit less width than normally. And I just go over the whole length of the lace. Then I cut away the excess fabric. Be sure you cut the right part of the lace, because I also have been smart enough to cut it on the wrong side. And then you can just sew it and match the pleat evenly at this last part. And then we go to the smaller lace. It's from wider lace I separated. Now I have two symmetrical parts and also the white one, which I will use for the bodice. I will pleat it at the widest and at the smallest part. That gives a nice lush effect and still leaves a bit of the pattern to be seen. And when you pleat this, leave some room for finishing, and then you put the foot down and start pleating. But here you constantly have to make sure that the lower fabric does not flip around. You can also pin it, of course, but I'm myself a bit allergic to pinning, but otherwise you have to constantly feel with your fingers to make sure the soft white lace does not flip around. But be also careful for your fingers. Don't get them under the sewing machine. I did that once and it's a bad idea. I had to go to the ICU to have it removed with pliers. There goes the pleating. Lay, 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 lay. When you're at the end, you flip the lace part which you started with back to not sew over it. Cut the lace with enough room to finish the pleating. I can't stress this enough. And then you can make your final pleats, and the last pleat you roll into the pleat part you started with. And with this smaller scallop lace I do this technique. Ta-da! Cute! Yay, yay, yay! And then I'm doing the other side, of course, pleating the other way around. 2 happy flues of lace. And then with the sewing machine I can pleat on the white version of the finer lace. And for the bodice I love to do this with very dense pleating, so a pleating where you leave no room in between the pleats. As for the pleating of the bodice, I will do a special on this, but in this case I did as following. I start at the side seam. I have the inside of the bodice facing up, so the good side is facing down and the good side of the lace is also facing down. I pleat with the pleats going up at the inside, but then when you flip it around you see at the other side that they are going down. Then at the mid back I change direction so that there is a nice mid in the fabric. And then again I change direction at the other side seam, and then at the mid back at the neckline. This is so that it's all symmetrical and that all the seams are going downwards. So from the mid back and from the mid neck they are going downwards to the side seams. I think that looks most nice and logical for the bodice. Here again I cut it off with more than twice the amount of fabric left for finishing, so I can overlap this and sew the fine zigzag, cut away the excess fabric and then sew the last pleats onto the bodice. After this I turn it around. With the smaller lace I'm doing again the same way of pleating, where it all goes downward from the mid neck and mid back, but here I start at the mid neck because this lace is mirrored. When you cut it in half in the scallops, then it's mirrored. From the mid back I'm pleating it downward to the side seam, and there I flip direction and go all the way to the back seam. There I cut the lace with just some more room, like 2 inches more than the mid seam, and then I get the other half of the lace, because this is mirrored lace, the scallop lace. I fold the one on the other with the good size onto each other and then give it a straight stitch vertically, and after that I pleat it so that the vertical line is ending exactly in the mid neck, and then I'm pleating it downwards to the side seam and then upwards to the mid back, and there the same thing. I make sure that I land on the same place. I also count the pleats from mid back to shoulder and from shoulder to side seam and from side seam to the back, to make sure that I land on the same place, and then I sew them again with the good sides onto each other and finish the pleating. For inserting the sleeve, you put the sleeve around the free arm of the sewing machine. I just realized that not all sewing machines have a free arm. In that case, I would actually recommend to sew the sleeve on by hand. This you can do by turning the fabric inside out and sewing very carefully with a little stitch. Maybe if you do not have a free arm, you still do it by sewing machine, then you can let me know what your life hack is for it. In any case, with sewing, the biceps needs to be on top of the bell sleeve and they both on the outside have to face up with the good sides. So here you fumble it under the biceps. I make the hole in the bell sleeve often a bit wider than the circumference of the biceps, so I can make a few little pleats on both sides. You can of course pin it. I want the pleats to be around the lower end, so the end where the seam is, and then go all around and then again pleat towards the seam. And then follow the scallops to make sure they don't curl. Well, what have we got here? I decided to give this one 2 cute little roses, and then also this can turn into a little rose tutorial. I use really small satin roses. I think that's cute and refined and stuff, but of course you can sew on anything you like. I love to use the last bits of thread that is on a spool for this, because I don't want to throw it away, but it's also annoying to start a new sewing project with such a little amount of thread on the spool. I use always double thread, always in my case Gutermann, but just a very sturdy thread. It makes your life better. Okay, when stitching on the rose, I prick my needle a bit aside the mid of the fabric, because of course the rose has a certain width, and then through the back of the rose, out of the heart of the rose. Be careful to not unroll it while pricking, so just do it very gently and with a very fine and sharp needle that really glides through it. And then you go back through the heart and to the back of the rose, and on the other side of the mid through the fabric. And then at the back I knot the thread together. And then I start sewing through the sides of the rose, and I always pick the outer leaf and the one just on top of it and sew them together. This way you do not sew the really outer part of the rose, but also make sure it is firm all around and lays nice and flat. And I do like 5 knots at the back and then cut it. You could also of course do a little tip of no fraying glue or something on to make sure it doesn't unravel. Yeah, well, that's it, I guess. This is the result. I show it from all angles and yeah, take a good look. How cute are those sleeves? I hope you enjoyed this and I'll be back for more. So happy sewing. Place your question or anything you wish to say or add in the comments, and see you next time. Bye bye.